guys, it's coming up for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5, Episode 3, A Life Spent, and similar to other shows, guys, I did not intentionally meant to get behind on this show. I just really did not have the time to review it till now, and I'm going to try to take all of today to try to catch up on the season. If I don't do it today, it will definitely be by Saturday, but, you know, I will most likely be caught up on the season overall, and as you guys know, I really did enjoy the Season 5 premiere. I thought it was different. I thought it was very intriguing. There was a lot of mysterious stuff, but I really didn't know where we were going to go because of how big that cliffhanger really was. I mean, there were so many places they could take the show, and I have to say this was another very well done episode. I really am enjoying the season so far, and again, it's because it is so different. This show really is, you know, one of those shows that kind of is, you know, regenerating itself every single season. And there aren't many shows where you can say that, but that's really what the show is doing. But let's just get into it. We start off in the outpost. We see the deafened gem. We see Simmons. She watches as Caestecker is made up for his meeting, and Sonara escorts in an emissary who says that the lady Basha couldn't make it and she's on her own eating by herself. The emissary says that Basha is looking forward to the upcoming ceremony, and Caestecker assures her that they will be exceeded. Once the emissary leaves, Caestecker calls a human Ty forward and asks him for news about the ceremony, and remember, Simmons is basically disguised as one of them at this point, but she watches as Caestecker flies into a rage and Sonara whispers something to soothe him. They both glance over at Simmons, and Caestecker comes over, says they have a problem. He hopes for her sake that they can in fact fix it. So basically, we don't know what that's really about, but Grill then tells his workers to pick up their efforts since the renewal lost him time and resources, and Coulson, Mac, and Yo-Yo are among the workers. Coulson looks at the journal that Virgil hid in his quarters, and Yo-Yo stops momentarily. Zev then triggers an electrical charge in his metric, tells her to work faster, and they're essentially slaves at this point. They're being forced to do exactly, you know, what these workers, you know, what they're being told, and basically Zev is the one who is controlling them here. So Grill goes into a cage to get equipment. Mac tries to follow him, only to discover the door is locked, and the crime boss says that he knew Mac would try something. He has Zev zap Mac via the metric, and Grill tells Mac that he owns him as long as they owe him, basically. That's exactly how this works, and again, it's creepy stuff that they're basically slaves, but I do like this. I like that they are a bit defenseless right now. Like, you can tell that they're more than, you know, they are more than game to get out of this situation, but unfortunately, they just can't. And especially the way this episode ends, you can definitely tell that this is a very tentative situation. They really need to, you know, tread lightly, because this could definitely be this could definitely lead to catastrophic consequences for pretty much every member of the team. But Daisy and Deke return to the lighthouse, discover that Coulson and the others are gone, and of course this is after Daisy has learned the huge revelation that she's the reason that Earth was destroyed. He reminds her that she's the one who destroyed Earth and says that eventually she'll be powerful enough to destroy the planet, and Deke suggests that in his universe Daisy destroyed the planet. She slaps him to shut him up, and Deke realizes that there has been a renewal, and he tells Daisy the 3 people are dead, but they weren't her friends, and he suggests that Grill might have taken them in. So Daisy walks off to find her teammates, and we then see Yo-Yo tells Mac to stop taking risks for him. He says that he didn't do it for her. He got a glimpse of the scroll hidden behind his cabinet. There's a handgun in there as well, and Mac suggests that Yo-Yo steal the scroll back, and May returns from a trawler run. Coulson asks her to let him come with her on the next one, and meanwhile Grill reminds Tess that she owes him a double run, suggests he takes some of the newcomers with her, so Tess agrees and then leads Mac and Coulson off. And we get a lot more with Tess in this episode. Tess actually has a lot of knowledge about this Earth, and I definitely really did like seeing that here. So Ty then turns off Simmons' deafening device. He takes her to the human girl sitting on a bed, shaking from a seizure, and he says that she did it to herself, and once he and Sonara leave, the girl says that her name is Abby, and the girl is played by none other than Sierra Bravo. Yes, we're talking about the girl from Big Time Rush, who, it was cool to see her here. I actually really did like this character, because Simmons realizes that she is very much an Inhuman, and Abby warns that if she isn't ready for the ceremony, then she doesn't really know what's going to happen to her, because, you know, at this point, if you're not one of them, then you're automatically an enemy, and she doesn't want to turn out as such. So Daisy finds Yo-Yo, who tells her what happened to them. She explains she needs to take the scroll so that they can use it to find Simmons, and Daisy quickly leaves. Zev orders Yo-Yo actually to get back to work. So Grill approaches Zev, tells him to find proof that the newcomers are stealing from him like Virgil was, and Tess then goes to the trawler bay, orders a boy Flint out, and Coulson, Mac, and May join him. Coulson says he figures Virgil was using the trawler to find something, and one of the segments, 616, is noted repeatedly in Virgil's journal. So Coulson figures that Virgil hid something there and says that they have to investigate, and Tess warns that she can't really go on a side mission, and Coulson tells her that it's the mission, and Virgil died for it. So after a moment, she agrees, warns they have to cover their tracks, because, I mean, they want to get Tess out there as well. They want to get all the humans they can out of there, because obviously this is not, humanity's just not really in a good place right now at all. So Zev arrives, says he's going on the run with them, and we then see Simmons ask Abby about the ceremony. Abby says that when the mist hit her, she was one of the lucky ones. She actually did survive, and she remembered her family and knew that they would be rewarded, and Abby assures Simmons that Ty has been teaching her to control her gift, but Abby hasn't really been able to do it yet. She hasn't really had anyone to teach her how to do that, and I do like this. like I said, I really do like the scenes between Abby and Simmons. Typically, the Inhuman scenes are, you know, most times, you know, they are favored to Daisy. Daisy is the one who has most of the Inhuman scenes, but I like seeing someone else who was an Inhuman interact with, you know, a different character. I definitely did enjoy seeing that here. So, basically, congregating, you know, basically, we don't really know what's going to happen here, because obviously she's not in control. She explains that she can after her molecular density, but she can't control it, and the only way to get it to stop is for her to have Ty turn on the blocker, surgically implanted behind her ear, and if she can't perform for the ceremony, Ty has said her family will be punished, and Simmons takes her hands and says that she'll help her. So I like this. I like that Simmons is the one training her. We really haven't seen something like this before, and it's a very different narrative for Simmons. You know, she's usually the one who's working with Fitz, and the two of them are working together, getting information, her using her scientific knowledge, but it's different this season. She can't really do that. One, because Fitz is nowhere to be found, but two, they're in an area that they really have no knowledge about. They don't have any prior knowledge on where they really are, anything that's going on, and I really like seeing Simmons step up and play this different role, and again, it really does show how talented Elizabeth Henstridge really is. She's one of those actresses where she just has great chemistry with anyone, and I really love the scenes between her and Abby in this episode. Definitely one of the strongest points of this entire episode for sure. So Coulson and the others go out in the trawler. They head for segment 616, and Mac keeps Zev distracted while Coulson asks May about her lie, and she admits that it's bad, and he puts a hand on her shoulder, and May places her hand on his. Coulson admits there may not be a way back, and he suggests their destiny is there helping the humans. Maybe they are there for a reason, like they were meant to really help them out. And May says that she'll help, but then she's going home, and that's completely understandable. I mean, after everything that just went down with them in the framework, because remember, this is only a few weeks after you know, what's happened in the framework, and, you know, since she was in the framework and then everything before when she was, you know, when she was in that one pod, and she was, you know, of course, sedated because her, LMD self was out there. I mean, May really has not gotten a chance to just relax. It's been constant chaos for her, and she really just wants a break, and you can't really blame her after everything she's been through, and I definitely did like seeing that here. I like seeing that May, you know, she does still want to help them, but at the same time, she does want to be a little bit selfish, and you can't really be upset with her for that, given how crazy the past few, you know, weeks have been for her. So, Grill's in eating at his desk, his sensor's going off, registering multiple readings. He keeps registering them even though Grill doesn't see anyone, and he calls Yo-Yo over to Inspector Metric, and when he removes it, Elaine then speeds invisibly into his office, gets the scrolls, returns to her original position without Grill noticing. He reinserts the metric and tells her to get back to work, and again, this is why I'm so happy Yo-Yo's a main character, because scenes like this, it just reminds me why we all wanted her as one. I am so happy that she's here full-time, and I just really love seeing her use her powers. I mean, she really is awesome. She's like the Flash, but she's different in that sense, and I really did like seeing that here. So Tess tells Coulson and May that Zev hasn't noticed that they're off course. Tess finds the small sphere that was Virgil's good luck charm and says that he would never leave it behind. Coulson then opens and finds a knob inside. Tess realizes where it goes and opens a cabinet with a missing knob, and a radio's inside. They realize that Virgil was actually talking to someone, and Zev arrives and magnetizes their metrics, sticking them to the hole. Once May confirms that he secured Coulson and Tess to the wall, she rams the trawler into pieces, knocking Zev to the floor. Mac arrives, punches the man unconscious, then frees Coulson and Tess tells them they just attacked a superior, and now they are definitely dead, because obviously the superior, I mean, they are, you know, of the highest honor, and the higher-ups are obviously going to go after them, and again, humans are just, not as prominent in society as they once were, and because they just mess with a superior, I mean, there's no telling what could happen to them now. So Simmons trains Abby in controlling her powers. Frustrated, the girl unconsciously increases her mash and pounds a dent in the floor, and Simmons tells her to focus on the molecular makeup of everything, including her body. She describes Abby's body as space, and the space between the stars like Abby's body, and concentrating, Abby manages to extend her hand through a glass, and Simmons tells her to remember the feeling, but then Abby loses her concentration, and the glass then shatters. So Cassius, Sonara, and Ty come in. Cassius tells Abby to come with him, and when Simmons says that they need more time, Cassius says she better hope not. He activates the deafening device in Simmons' ear, and then asks Sonara if she set Gemma up to fail. So the woman says nothing. Cassius asks her what Simmons has that makes her capable of succeeding, and Sonara says a single word, which is compassion. And I think that's very much true. You know, anyone that Simmons comes in contact with, she always does try to see the good in them, and that's something I always have loved about Simmons as a character. She just, it's one of the most it's one of the qualities to her that makes her so likable, and I really do like the way the show, you know, is respecting that here. So Daisy used the scroll to find Simmons, runs into Deke. He warns she's storming the castle and asks how she's going to stay alive, and Deke tells Daisy that he can get Cassius to invite her, but warns that it does take time. So Daisy ignores him, but Deke says the Kree will take it out on the humans. He refuses to let her destroy the world again, and Daisy blasts him back. Deke says that she's Quake, the destroyer of worlds, and Daisy tells him never to call her that again, and then leaves, because she's going to make sure that does not happen. You can tell it's not something that she finds very endearing, and which is, I mean, it's obviously understandable, but the team approaches segment 616. Mac locks up Zev, and Tess suggests that they dump him into space and make it look like an accident, and as they argue, someone hails them on the radio. They realize it's coming for Earth, reflected off of 616, and Cassius then greets Basha, she says that he's fared well. They go to the ceremony chamber, watch as Abby is released into the pit. She sees Simmons in the observation gallery, and another door opens to reveal a muscular Inhuman, which is Bosch's champion, and when Simmons objects, Sonara holds up her attack balls threateningly. The warrior then beats Abby, and Cassius looks at Ty. That says that a lot of lives rely on Abby's success. Everything that's going on, you know, if Abby doesn't perform in the way they want her to, then they definitely are going to cause a lot of harm to her family. And again, I really do like the stakes here. Even though we've only known Abby for one episode, this gives us a lot of reasons to care for her. And Sabi is sobbing. She crawls across the floor. She's pounding on the door, and you can tell this is a lot for her because she really doesn't know if this is actually going to work out. And Daisy then makes her way through the upper section. She's blending in with the human servants to avoid the guards. The warrior then drags Abby to the center of the pit. Abby glances up at Simmons. Simmons whispers to her to think of the stars, and Basha tells her warrior to finish off the girl. She stands to meet him. When he punches her, his arm breaks from the impact against her super heavy body, and Abby just completely dematerializes her hand, pulls out his heart. Basha smiles in satisfaction. That scene was incredible. And again, the fact they're able to put this stuff on network television, I just love how ballsy the show is, and I love that the 9 o'clock time slot is not affecting that. They still are just as ballsy, and scenes like this very much do show that, and it was honestly really awesome. I really did love seeing Abby, you know, achieve a victory here. I was very worried it wasn't going to go well for her, but I definitely enjoyed that. So Coulson responds to transmission, but gets no answer. Tess says that either Zev dies or they do, but Mac refuses to let him die. So the trawler loses fuel. Tess warns that Zev cut the fuel lines. May heads back to the outpost with the remaining fuel, and Tess asks Mac if it was worth it, and afterward, Basha tells Caesius that he's done well with the Terrans. They share a toast, and Ty and Abby come in. Basha pays Caesius for Abby and leads her away, and when Simmons objects, Sonara threatens her, but Caesius tells his assassin not to kill Simmons because she's good at training Inhumans to use their powers and bringing him a high price, and that maybe they could really use her to their advantage. So I do like this. I like that what started off as just, temporarily using her, now they're actually finding a way where she could actually be somewhat valuable to them and could be a good asset to the team, even if she doesn't really want to be. So Daisy continues on, enters an elevator. A Kree worker stops the elevator. Daisy hides in the rafters. Another worker enters the elevator as well, while Daisy tried to keep her grip, and once she slips, they hear her. They look up. Daisy drops on them and attacks. She knocks out one, but the other one punches her out of the elevator. She used her power to slam her back into the wall and continues on, and when the trawler returns, Grill figures that they picked up where Virgil left off. He promises to kill all of them, starting with Coulson, and Tess says that it was just her, and she says they didn't know about Virgil. Yo-Yo announces that Zev has a gun. Zev denies it, but Yo-Yo invites Grill to search Zev for it. Grill finds his own gun on Zev, tortures him with his metric. Coulson claims they knew the truth, but didn't want to report on Grill's own men, and Grill says he'll report it to the Blues himself to escape any blowback on himself. He tells his workers that no one is above the rules, and Daisy then blasts through a floor, drops into Caesius' quarters, and we get this awesome scene where the doors seal. Gas is filling the hallway, knocking out Daisy before she can use her powers, and Caesius and the others come in with Deke. Deke says that Daisy is a weapon of massive destruction. He knew that Daisy would display her abilities. He says that Daisy is Caesius's now and tells her that he's playing the long game, and it seems like he's going to actually use Daisy to his advantage as well. But that's not the end of the episode, because we then see Coulson. He gets up from his bunk. He goes to the portal. He looks out into space for a moment, then goes back to work, where Mac, May, and Yo-Yo are now working on a radio to pick up the signals. Someone asking for Virgil calls in, asks if he's secured the delegation, and Coulson figures that they're the delegation, and someone knows who they are and why they're there, and Tess says that Earth's surface is where they send people to die because no one can survive there. We see Zev, he's sent to the surface, roaches surround and then kill him, and that is the way this episode ends. So, like I said, guys, a lot of interesting stuff to talk about here. First of all, let's talk about the Earth's surface, because obviously Zev is a character that I'm pretty sure we all wanted dead. He was torturing them. He was making them as prisoners. I mean, Grill obviously is still out there, but Zev is now, in fact, dead, and the whole thing of the Earth's surface, I think that's foreshadowing that we are going to lose someone. I do think someone major is, in fact, going to die. Is it going to be a main character? I don't know. Would they actually kill Yo-Yo or Mac or May? I don't know. There's such an integral part of this team that I don't really know if they'd actually do that. But I could see maybe one of their allies dying, possibly Tess or someone like that. So I'm interested in seeing really where they're going to go with that. But I don't think they're just going to introduce the surface just to show Zev dying. There's definitely more to it than that. Let's talk about Daisy, because I'm really excited to see where this does go now. I mean, Daisy's arc this season already has been very treacherous, obviously, because she really is the reason they're in the state they are right now. But obviously, Deke has withheld a lot of stuff from her. He hasn't said how it really comes about or what's really going on, and he's proven that he's definitely not on her side. He is not an ally at all, and now that she's being held by Caesius, there really is no telling what's going to happen with her. I mean, obviously, the goal is to get Simmons out of here, but we now know that Caesius has found a way to use Simmons to his advantage, and maybe by doing, he wants to keep her held captive for as long as possible, because she's going to be the one to train all these Inhumans, and, I think things just got a lot more complicated, so I'm very interested in seeing really where that's going to go as well. I think that definitely is very interesting, and I really did like the arc with Abby. I will admit that it was a little bit rushed, seeing Simmons train Abby, and then all of a sudden she just completely is, you know, battles it out and is a complete badass. I mean, just completely decimating this one character and achieving victory. I was happy for her, but I will admit it was a little bit rushed. They could have maybe taken a little bit more time to develop their relationship overall, but I still really did like we got there. I still thought it definitely was very well done, and I'm really liking the character of Abby so far. And again, it gives Simmons something different to do other than just giving information and, you know, being with Fitz. There's a lot more of a role for her. Not saying that she hasn't had one before, but this is something that Simmons truly has never really done on the show, and you would think by 5 seasons they'd be running out of stories for these characters, and the fact that they're still coming up with fresh new ideas just really shows how great the writing is here, and I think really does speak volumes for how well done the show really is right now. And the fact that they are changing locations and they're doing all this cool stuff is definitely very interesting. There's still a lot of stuff we don't know about. We don't really know you know, how they're going to get out of here, because we know they're going to get out of here, obviously. At least we suspect they're going to get out of here. You know, it seems like this is just one of the pods, because it does seem like they're taking that same pod approach, which would make sense because it worked so well last season. Why not try to replicate it this season? But I don't know if it's going to last, you know, if this one is going to last as shortly as the ones last season did, because as far as I know, we're already on episode 6, and I'm pretty sure this arc is still going on. I know it lasted like 8 episodes, you know, it was like 8 episodes per pod, but we'll have to see the way that does go this season. But there's definitely a lot more stuff I do want to know about. Really, like I said, my only complaints with this episode is I did think this stuff with Abby was just a little bit rushed. I think that they did a really good job developing their relation, but I did think it was a little bit rushed overall. Also, I really don't care about Grill or Zev. I know we're not really supposed to, but you know, they're characters where I feel like if they had a more, you know, Grill is fantastic. The actors playing him is so menacing and so powerful, and definitely someone you don't want to mess with, but I do feel they could give a little bit more context there, and I'm hoping they do with some of these supporting characters, because I definitely am liking Tess, I'm liking Abby, but I want to go a little bit more deeper into them, and I did like what they did with them overall. Cassius is a badass, honestly. He's so menacing, honestly. You're definitely very scared of this guy. You can tell how powerful he is, and I'm interested in seeing really where stuff with his storyline does go. But overall, guys, I really am enjoying this season so far, and I am going to give this episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5, Episode 3, A Life Spent, a B+. But overall, guys, for me, this episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. How much guys thought this episode overall, left your thoughts, and like I said, I'm going to try to catch up on the rest of the season. Episodes 4 will probably be coming in the next video, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.